Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo, and we're here today to talk about Battlefield 1. Probably for the last time, we're going to talk about its World War I setting. Because I'm just at the point now where it's obvious that I enjoy the game. I've told you guys so many times, I love the gameplay that DICE has been able to implement into Battlefield 1, having spent a ridiculous amount of time on just one map in the alpha. Of course, the open beta is live today for insiders. It will be live tomorrow for everyone else. I've been playing a bit of the new map, the sort of desert location. Was able to play Rush, really loving having Rush back. Like, it all feels great from a gameplay perspective. But I can't help but continue to question their use of a World War I setting. It just, at the end of the day, makes no sense to me. What they've had to do in order to build Battlefield 1 as a World War I game is they've had to take the Battlefield experience, which they cannot destroy. They have to keep Battlefield as a Battlefield experience intact. That's just what it is. People expect Battlefield to be a certain game. They expect it to contain certain maps and modes and to provide a certain type of experience. There are certain settings where that experience doesn't work well when you directly translate it. One of those settings happens to be World War I. So what they've had to do is they've had to shoehorn the Battlefield experience into the World War I setting. And in order to make it work, they've had to modify, in some cases people might say butcher, everything that made World War I World War I. It's just what had to be done. I'm not arguing that fact. I'm not arguing that they've done that, and there's really no way to defend it. The game is lacking in authenticity because they've had to remove so much of that authenticity to maintain the Battlefield experience. That's it. That's exactly what happened. You know, when we talk about gameplay over authenticity, that's the situation right there. That's the choice they had to make to maintain what makes Battlefield Battlefield. So the question I have is, since there is now seemingly so little actual World War I value in Battlefield 1, when you look at it, what do we have? We've got some locations, we've got some firearms, we've got some tanks and some airplanes. If you're really into the physical presentation of those things within the game, then awesome, it probably works great for you. Being able to see, you know, an old tank from World War I or an old biplane, that's probably really cool, right? You know, people like that. Oh, I get to fly this around. But that's like it. That's the face value of it, right? You know, you're not getting that experience. The trench warfare isn't there. We've got, you know, CQC going on. We're fighting inside of houses. These things just didn't happen in World War I. That's not really the representation of what makes World War I World War I. So the question I have is, why the hell did they not just take it to World War II? World War II is obviously, as we know from other games and past Battlefield games, a time and place, a piece of history where the Battlefield experience molds well. They can blend it into World War II. They can maintain a much higher level of accuracy and authenticity in the World War II setting while still creating the proper Battlefield experience. It just would have made so much more sense to me. And every time I boot into a match in BF1, all I say to myself is, I wish I was playing a World War II game right now. I really genuinely do. I think that the variety would actually be better in terms of equipment and weapons and things like that. I think it would just make a more fitting Battlefield experience. And for some reason, I personally feel dirty about it. I've said this in the past, and a couple of you guys laughed, but it's so true. You know, I feel dirty about playing Battlefield 1 because it just feels like this tainted World War I, you know, experience, or this tainted attempt at a World War I experience. Like, so little of that World War I value feels like it's actually there. Now, there's two obvious reasons in my mind why they did go with World War I over World War II. You know, we're coming back on that cycle. A lot of game developers in the industry, Cliff Lesinski's talked about this numerous times, about the cycle for, like, you know, multiplayer first-person shooters. Like, we did Future. Some people are still trying to do Future, but a lot of people are recognizing the value of going back from a marketing perspective. From a straight-up sales perspective, you go even further back now. Let's do something that really hasn't been done. Let's do World War I. And you instantly have the attention of, you know, a million more people. Like, it's a strong marketing suit is what it is, setting the game in World War I. A lot of people are like, World War I? World War I? Whoa, I gotta go check this out, you know? It's an instant bit of appeal. And obviously, it's a quick way of, again, at face value, in my opinion, making something feel fresh and new. You know, had they done World War II, a lot of people would be like, oh, we're going back to World War II now. But the reality is, they're doing World War I. People were probably happy about the initial, you know, concept of World War I, because like, well, that'll be completely different from any World War II game we played. You know, this is going to be something really fresh, but it's not. It plays like any other shooter experience. It plays like any other World War II game for the most part, because, again, the need to adapt the World War I setting to the Battlefield experience. There are bits and bobs. There are pieces of what made World War I World War I, but it never comes full circle. The rules aren't all in place. It's like a giant toy box, and you've got a rule book for each and every experience that you can create or imagine with those toys. So you pull out the World War I rulebook, you see the toys in front of you, you see the sandbox, and you recognize that it's just never going to work if you follow the rules. So you throw the rulebook aside, and you play how you damn well please. That's exactly what DICE and EA have done with World War I here in Battlefield 1. Now again, I'm not here to actually physically mark the game. I think as a first-person shooter, a multiplayer experience, it's been outstanding. You know, I really want to play it when it comes to release day. There are things that I don't like in terms of decisions that they're making, like charging people for map DLC once again. And again, I have this continuing personal struggle with the game setting. But if I just focus on the gameplay and the fun that I know I can have with my friends, it's hard not to see the appeal. There's something quite good there. There really genuinely is. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of the day, I personally feel it would have made a whole lot more sense to take Battlefield 1 to World War II. I think we could have had a more authentic experience. I think they could have told a story that was much more based in the reality of a history that actually happened, which would have been awesome from the educational and informational standpoint of that. And I even think we could have visited locations and maps and you know, battles that took place in World War II and the multiplayer that, again, would have had some historical value. Much of that and more has been stripped out of what made World War I the war it was inside of Battlefield 1, and that's just the way it's going to have to be, I guess. Let me know your thoughts, guys. Feel free to share your opinions down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.